Welcome to my list of top 10 abstract strategy games. I love abstract strategy games. I've played them all my life. But there are two games that are not going to be on this list. The games that I play regularly, but they're just uber classics, chess and backgammon. I have fond memories of playing chess with my uncle, who taught me the game as a kid. And I have fond memories of playing backgammon with my dad, who taught me the game as a kid. And his dad taught him the game as a kid. So backgammon goes way back in my family. But, you know, they're just major classics. So I didn't feel the need to include them on this list. I do have some honorable mentions, and then we can get to my top 10. So let's get to it. My first honorable mention goes to Pentago. Look at all these awards here. Pentago is a game that ever since I discovered it, probably 10 years ago, I've played it on a regular basis because it's enjoyable. You're trying to get your marbles lined up there, but what's cool is the board moves. You place some marble and then you move your board, so it changes the perspective of the game very quickly. So it's an enjoyable game, and therefore it's an honorable mention on my list. Pentago. Another honorable mention is Linea. Linea is just a minimalist design. I mean, it just comes with these bamboo sticks and these pieces. It's a game that you make two moves every turn. I'll talk more about this game at some point. And you're basically trying to get to the other side. As soon as you surpass all your opponent's pieces, the game ends, and then there's a point system. But your first move dictates how many spaces you can move your second on your second move. So it's a neat game. You can just go to a craft store and it's hard to find this game anymore. So you might just find the rules and just build the game yourself, you know. But whatever. A neat game. I enjoy playing it, so it gets an honorable mention. Linea. Another honorable mention, and some of you might be surprised. Some of you might be thinking, wow, that should be on your top 10, Alex. It's Hive. I really like Hive. All the different expansions and stuff for Hive. I've had a lot of fun playing Hive. All the bugs here, they make different moves and stuff. The only thing I have with Hive is that, you know, it takes people a minute to get going with this game because the different bugs all have different movements. It takes time for people to get used to playing it and to play it on a competitive level. So it's less of a beer and pretzel game for me. And, you know, you have to play with people who have played it before. It's a great game. Absolutely worth learning. But on my list here, it gets an honorable mention. I really like it. Hive. So let's get to my top 10, shall we? My number 10 abstract strategy game is Dao. Yes, my number 10. Dao for me is a Zen-like game of concentration, really. Because if you're playing with a matched opponent, you know, it can go on for a bit, and if you lose concentration for a moment, you're going to get caught. Basically, you have a 4x4 board, and you set up your pieces, your little glass pieces, as an X. And the way you move the piece is you can't just move one square. Once you decide to move the piece only stops when it reaches the end of the board or another piece. So it's got a certain flow to the game. It was awarded a Mensa award, I think, in 2001. And I know some people, find that, weird. But it's a very neat game. It's a simple game. You can learn it very quickly. But yeah, for me, it's a Zen-like concentration type game. But it's my number 10, Dao. I've been playing this thing for 20 years. It's a game I enjoy. That's why I have this bamboo version. I'm not even sure you can find this bamboo. The board is bamboo. It's really nice. But anyway, Dao, number 10 on my abstract strategy games list. Number 9 is... What is that? It's just bubbles, right? Well, this is travel version of Abalone, because unfortunately my Abalone game is at a friend's house. But here's a picture of it. Yes, Abalone. Abalone is a sumo wrestling type game where you gotta, push your marbles and you gotta push your opponent's, 6 of your opponent's marbles off the board. It's a neat game. It's got some variants to it. This is the travel version, but it's a neat game. I enjoy it. Been playing it for a very long time as well on a regular basis, and therefore it's my number 9 abstract strategy game, Abalone. Now let's go to my number 8 abstract strategy game, and my number 8 is 6. Is that confusing? No. My number 8 abstract strategy game is called 6. And this is a game, I have a couple of friends, and we've played tons of this game. You don't need a board. You can just pop these pieces on the table. There's 3 different winning conditions there. And it can be a thinky game, but it's also a casual game where you can carry a conversation and stuff as you put the pieces on. It's a pleasure to play, and therefore it's number 8 on my abstract strategy games list because it gets a lot of play, and I've had a lot of enjoyment playing this game. 6. Now, my number 7 abstract strategy game is a beautiful game. It's a gorgeous game, and you can play it solitaire or 3-player. Do you know what it is? Seikatsu. Seikatsu is gorgeous. It's got these, I think they're called bakelite. I don't know, these little tiles with birds with little flowers around it. It's just a beautiful game. There's a picture of it here. There are the little tiles there, you see, little birds with little flowers around it, and then you got this board. So you can play 3-player, you can play solitaire, which I've done a couple of times, and you can play 2-player. It's just a wonderful abstract strategy game. You're trying to get as many points as possible. I'll talk more about this game at some point, but you got 3 perspectives, right? So blue is my perspective, so I'm worried about points on these lines, and green is worried about points on these lines. And then you got to put the birds in adjacent to each other, and then however many birds I have here, and the little flowers around it too. I'm scoring points with those things. But it's a very pleasurable abstract strategy game. One I really enjoy as a solitaire game, as a 2-player game, as a 3-player game. And that is Seikatsu at my number 7. Now my number 6 game is a game that I discovered this game attending a Dice Tower convention. They had the game set up there, and I played it, and I wanted to buy it. I had the cash in my hand. I was ready to go, and the game wasn't available. It came out a few months later, and that is Shobu. Shobu is really neat. It's a thinky game. It's a nice competitive game. It doesn't take long to play. It doesn't take long to learn to play, but it's very cool. Look at that. So you're trying to push your opponent's pieces off the board, but piece that you move here the move will be repeated here. So as these pieces start moving across the board, for instance, I have this piece here, I can move 1 or 2 spaces. If I move 2 spaces there, well, that means, this is my side of the board, that means it goes on the opposite color board. One of these pieces here will move 2 spaces in the same direction. So, I don't know. I'll talk more about this game at some point. It's a neat game. Once you get the concept, it's easy to play. But man, is it competitive. It's a very cool game. It's been getting a lot of play since I finally got my hands on this. And that's my number 6, Shobu. Go check it out if you haven't played it or haven't heard of it. It's a cool game. My number 5 is an oldie but goodie. I have every version. Oh, you already got a glimpse. Oh boy, I was trying to hide it. It's Terrace. I got every version of this game. I have one of the designers, a friend of mine on Facebook. Anyway, I've talked to him about doing an app for this or reprinting it. I don't know. I think if this game goes to Kickstarter, it would be funded in 24 hours. No joke. I think it's a wonderful game. This version, of course, was featured on Star Trek. But look at this. I mean, this game is out right now in my living room downstairs. I leave this game out because it's just beautiful and I love playing it. Gorgeous pieces, 3D board. There's a 6x6 version, which is a quicker, tighter game. Terrace is just a great game. I've been playing it for over 20 years. I really love this game, and it had to be on my top 10 list. And this time, it gets a number 5 on my top 10 list. Terrace. Let's get this game back somehow. App, Kickstarter, anything. Anyway, let's move on. My number 4 abstract strategy game is a Reiner Knizia game. Ingenious. Oh, do I love this game. You can play it solo as well. 4-player, 2-player, 3-player. What a great game. They have another version of it. Same game, but it's called Axio. AXIO. It's the same version, same game. I think they had an issue with the name or something. I think you could still get Ingenious anyway. But there's another one called Axio that is the same thing. There's even an app called Axio. I play that app all the time. I really love this game. It's a great abstract strategy game. You got these different tiles. You're trying to make chains of certain colors to score points. And then, it's just... it's Reiner Knizia. It's one of his best, really. I mean, as an abstract strategy game, I love it. And for years, this thing has gotten tons of plays. I have a couple of versions of this. My brother brought me a version of this from Germany. So, yeah, Ingenious, definitely on my top 10 list at number 4. And now let's go to my number 3 abstract strategy game. And this is a Dice Tower Essential game. Oh, you already know what it is, right? It's Onitama. Onitama is so easy to teach. You can get people playing this competitively very quickly. And if you have, matched opponents there, I mean, it's still a competitive game. It's a quality game. It's aesthetically beautiful. I love Onitama. Look at that, right? You're trying to get your master over to the other master's gate, or you got to capture that master with your disciples or your own master. But you got these movement cards here. You get 5 movement cards. This is a ton of cards that come with the game, but you get 5, and they cycle through both players. So it's open information. Both players are going to be able to make those 5 moves. It's just a fun, competitive, aesthetically beautiful game. And it is my number 3 abstract strategy game, Onitama. I love it. My number 2 abstract strategy game has been in my family for a very, very long time. I played this game with my daughter when she was like 5 years old, and we've played it throughout. There's an app for this. I play it with my daughter today when we're not together. And when we are together, every now and then we'll play a match of this, and that is Pente. Pente is wonderful. I mean, I really like Pente. It's got this Go board. You win by putting your pieces, 5 of them, diagonally, horizontally, vertically. And you can if you capture a certain number of pieces from the opponent, and that's another winning condition. Like, for instance, here, if I'm green and I pop a green piece right here on top of these 2 blue ones, I capture those 2 blue ones. So, anyway, Pente is a classic. It's a wonderful game. It's got history in my family. I love it, and therefore, it's my number 2 abstract strategy game. And now, ladies and gentlemen, my number 1 abstract strategy game. Ever since this game came out, I have played it nonstop. I've given it to friends because I want these friends to have this game at home, so when I go over to their house, I can play it with them. And that is Tech. James Ernest, Patrick Rothfuss. What a pleasure, this game. You can play it casually. You can play it more competitively. You can play it in different size boards. You don't even need a board at all to play this game. If you watch some James Ernest videos, you don't even need a board. But, it's nice to play with a board. And you're playing with a 5x5 board. That's like the Tavern version. And you can play more competitive 6x6. This version here comes with both boards. Right, the Tavern there, and then when you flip that over to the other side, which is this, you got a tiny 3x3 board, so you can play a very quick game, which is, it's not that great. But playing the pieces on these diamonds, you playing on a 6x6 board. Anyway, TAC is just a great game. Ever since this game came out, I've been in love with it. My friends love it. We play this all the time, casually, more focused. TAC, what can I say? It's a beautiful game. And there you have it, my top 10 list of abstract strategy games. If you'd like to suggest an abstract strategy game for me, please do, because I'm always looking for new, interesting abstract strategy games. Put the comment down below and introduce me to some cool games. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.